The Ranger side of Wildwood up at the top. You know, I shouldn't be as winded as I am because I made that climb on this, the Hyper eRide Mountain 26. Can you believe it's been a year since I got this bike, a year and 2 months. I did a 6-month update. Today we're gonna get the 1-year update. First and foremost, I'll get this out of the way. Have I had any major problems? No. Only a very few minor problems that I mentioned in my base review, some chain drops. But other than that, this has held up well. It's still holding a charge well, gosh knows how many miles, how many charges, but I'm still getting about the same range as I got out of the box. So not bad there. It's doing good so far, well, and so far being a year and 2 months plus. However, I have made a few changes. We're gonna go over those in this video. And the reason I'm making this video right now is because it's about to get a few more changes, some major. Let me go over what I've changed thus far, and one surprise that you're not going to believe. The very first change that I made, the most necessary in my opinion for this bike, if you don't plan on just keeping it on the street, you're gonna ride any kind of bike paths or trail that's dirt, you'll need different pedals. The factory pedals, super slippery. You can see I went big time here. Great pedals. I use a lot of Fukers, but I went race face Chester here because I had an extra set and they work out well. I don't slip on the pedals anymore, so change number 1. Change number 2, I have bars. That's gonna be part of the upcoming changes, but a major change, the second change I felt was necessary, was getting rid of the factory fork. And what replaced it, very, very special. If you're sitting down, that's good. If you're not, you may wanna sit down, because how much do you think I paid for this fork? Well, let me tell you the story, and this is why you're going to need to sit down. This is, of course, a 26er bike. When I went to order the fork, I found a D&M coil fork for $40 on Amazon. I thought, well, D&M, it has 32 millimeter stanchions. It's a coil fork. Weight, not an issue on an e-bike. I went ahead and I ordered it because it was cheap. It stayed in the box for quite some time. And I eventually opened the box, and I knew right away with the box, when I opened it, it looked like a RockShox box. Then I figured out inside, not the $40 coil fork that I ordered, but an air fork. A $40 air fork, clearly a mistake. And right after I bought this, it went out of stock. So I think they sold something on Amazon and needed something to ship, and they just grabbed whatever they had, which was this, luckily still a 26er fork. I knew D&M made good rear shocks, budget rear shocks, but this fork has a rebound adjustment. It looks snazzy. I mean, look at that, flames. The nice stanchions, good quality, manual lockout, $40, and it has held up and works. As well as a budget RockShox so far, I have been super impressed. And again, $40. Way better fork, way better pedals. I made one other change that I've been riding for over 6 months. You know, the eRide Mountain 26 comes with rim brakes. Now, why they went with this, I'm sure budget, but that does step the bike down a bit because the eRide Mountain, it has disc brakes. Well, you'll notice now there is a rotor right there. As a matter of fact, kind of comically, it is a mongoose rotor. I looted this off of a wheel set that, oh, another change. This is the original factory wheel set from the Hyper Carbon X. Remember, I swapped that out for one of my Novatech wheel sets, my cycling deal. Novatech hubs anyway, WTB rims, but the snafu tires and everything, at least it was off of another Hyper, the Hyper Carbon X 26. It worked perfect here. I just had to steal a rotor because at some point I had looted the rotor, probably put it onto the wheel set that I swapped out on the Carbon X for Project X, but I used this mongoose rotor. And of course, another byproduct of all of these changes, it now made the front wheel quick release. So a new wheel, a new front brake. And how did I get this front brake to work? With the motor shutoff switch, I just used the factory brake lever and ran the cable right up to it, thereby still keeping the motor shut off. Very, very important on these hub-driven e-bikes. So why didn't I change out the rear while I was doing the front? Because as you can see, this hub motor, it does have disc brake mount holes, and the frame, it has mount points to put a rear caliper. Well, I'm getting to that. It's part of the upcoming upgrades, and boy, are there some upgrades coming, including bars, wider bars, to make it more of a proper mountain bike, even though, you know, kind of limited. I've mentioned this before, but these hub-driven e-bikes, cadence sensor equipped, not ideal for riding on trails. They can kind of sneak up on you, especially start doing something crazy, that little extra second of burst here and there, that can cause problems. It's those upcoming changes, the reason I'm making this video. So let me just tell you how this has worked out. Since I did this, and it's been in this configuration for at least 6 months. I mean, I think right after my 6-month update video, I put these on, and I use this whenever there's a trail work day, or I need to zip up the trail for something. I get on this because it just makes it so easy. And being a smaller, lighter bike, lighter e-bike, just not that heavy for e-bikes, being a 26er, it's easy to load and unload on my bike rack. So clearly it is better. What are the downsides? Well, obviously the narrow bars, I probably should have already changed those. I should have changed those as soon as I changed this fork. But the narrow bars, they're just kind of too narrow. For any good trail riding, of course, again, hub-driven e-bike, not really going to push it that hard. It's more of a trail mule for me. But also this rear rim brake, it wears quick, especially considering the front brake brakes so much better now. The major problem right down here, the obvious, the Shimano flat face. I mean, this would beat this to death. I keep it wrapped, I unwrapped it just for this video. You can see it's still pristine, and this cool shape, the design of this chainstay, I didn't want to ruin it, so I try to protect it. But this is an e-bike, so I'm doing 15 to 20 miles per hour out on the trail, and that rear derailleur, it bounces so much that I'm starting to get chain drops up front. And that's because the better fork allows me to go even faster than I normally would. And just that little bit pushes it enough. That and me having better traction on the pedals, that's enough to bounce that rear around so much that I get fairly regular chain drops. The bonus about a chain drop on an e-bike, a hub-driven cadence sensor equipped e-bike, is that I can still spin the cranks and get some boost out of that hub motor, even without the chain on the bike. So clearly, this rear derailleur, that needs to be changed, and you know, there's just not that much that I can do back here with only the 6-speed. Is this a 6-speed? Yeah, 6-speed. There's only so much I can do with the 6-speed freewheel. I might convert this to 7, I don't know. You'll have to tune in, or stay tuned, to find out what I'm going to do, and trust me, you are going to want to make sure you see it. So stay tuned for that, and there you go. A 1 year and 2 month update on the Hyper eRide Mountain. Battery still holding in there, motor still holding in there. Thank you for watching KevCentral. Have a great day.